Hello everyone, and welcome. I don't know about all of you, but this past year for me flew by very quickly. I can't believe we're already just a little over a week away from 2018. Despite only being active on this channel for around 6 months and being completely new to video making, this channel has managed to attract way more viewers than I thought it ever would, especially in such a short amount of time. I know that probably sounds cliche, but seriously, thank you all for the support. With so many new subscribers, I wanted to do a quick update on all the projects that I've featured in 2017, and also talk a little bit about some plans I have for this channel moving forward into the new year. Let's start with the first project that I featured, which is this Jeep Cherokee crawler with a custom 3D printed plastic ladder frame. I've made several videos featuring this crawler, showing its abilities, what changes and modifications I've made, and I've even done some FPV crawling with it as well. Off camera, this has been my go-to crawler whenever I go out to the woods. I've also taken this vehicle to a few meets and events. Although I've yet to do any competitive driving with this crawler, the events were a great opportunity to see how it compared to a wide range of different crawlers. Honestly, I'm really surprised how well it handled the rocks, mud, and trails. I put quite a few miles on it shortly after upgrading the ABS frame rails to more rigid PLA ones, and the crawler has held up great. The aluminum axles and weighted wheels combined with the lightweight frame help keep the center of gravity low, and the softer springs aid in the articulation of the axles, helping to improve its crawling ability. These tires do leave a bit to be desired though. I need to swap these out for something with a bit more bite. I plan on publicly releasing all the files for this frame, as well as a 3D printable transmission, axles, and suspension links in the future, along with an inexpensive component kit that will include all the parts required for assembly that cannot be 3D printed, such as hardware, gears, bearings, slipper clutch, and shafts. I'm looking forward to seeing others building crawlers using this platform, as well as getting some feedback and experimenting with new designs to maximize performance. Right now, the plan is to begin releasing files this upcoming spring and summer. I'll have more information and updates in the coming months. Along with the design you've seen here on the channel, I've also designed and printed some updated versions of this frame, which are substantially more rigid. Also, I've been designing some 3D printable frames that feature a far more realistic appearance and layout, such as having the motor mounted up front and a leaf spring suspension. I've even been experimenting a bit with some unibody designs and some micro crawlers as well. You'll see more of those projects in the future. Keeping with the crawler theme, I want to talk a bit about the MST CMX that I built this past summer and did a complete build video on. I still haven't completed the body or taken this truck out crawling yet. I've started working on the body and I've printed a bunch of custom parts for it. However, before I got a chance to put it all together, winter came and I decided to put that project on hold until the spring. Those of you who have been following me on my social media pages for a little while have seen the body and some of the progress I've made so far. I'm really looking forward to completing the body and taking the CMX out for the first time. Another project I'm really looking forward to completing is the 1972 Chevy PreRunner build. This build uses a cheap, hobby-ish grade Fiyu Fighter 1/1/12 scale short course truck as a platform for this build. From there, I designed a cage and some other custom pieces. I've been continuing to work on the cage, body, and battery mounts, as well as the interior. I never really had much of a plan for this build. I've just kept on building things here and there, and I've really been enjoying the build process, and I think the truck is already looking pretty good. My biggest designer's block I've experienced with this project is making the fender flare and bedside pieces. I've been experimenting with different designs, but I've yet to come up with one that I really like. Also, I'd like to narrow the rear axle a bit. It's not going to be super easy, but I think it would look so much better and way more scale if I was able to narrow the rear track width a bit. I'm pretty sure none exist, but on the off chance a narrower axle than this exists that would bolt right up in place of this one, please let me know. That would definitely save me some time and effort. Also, thank you for all the wheel and tire suggestions you've left on the previous video. I found some that will fit perfectly and should look great on this truck. Now it's just a matter of choosing which one I want to get. I have been making some progress on this build since the last video, so hopefully I'll have a new video showing the progress sometime next month. Moving on to the Subaru build, this is a rallycross style Subaru Impreza using a custom 3D printed all-wheel drive chassis. I pretty much finished the body in the previous video, aside from wanting to make some adjustments to the wiring for the lights. The suspension, however, is going to get overhauled with a ton of new and improved parts. I'm hoping to get the suspension upgraded soon so I can take this car out onto the snow and ice and get some cool driving footage. This chassis is one of my older designs, and I know there is a lot of room for improvement. I've wanted to build a completely redesigned version of this chassis for a while now, but I haven't got around to it yet. But since I've received a lot of interest in this chassis, I think I'm going to make some design revisions to it and make the STL files available in a similar way to the crawler I talked about earlier. I'll have more details on that in a future video. Next project I want to talk about is the Budget RC Drift build. This has been a popular series, so I'm sure nearly all of you are aware of it, but for those who aren't, the goal of this project was to build a rear-wheel drive drift car for under $300 US. I wanted the car to have a nice balance of scale realism and performance at a good value. I'm very pleased with the result. The Sakura D4 chassis is not without its flaws and shortcomings, but a good platform all things considered. The car is getting close to completion. The only things left to do is add an interior, inner fenders, new wheels, and some lights. I would like to build another 1/10 scale drift car after I'm finished with this one. For my next build, I want to make a custom, much more scale-appearing 3D printable chassis with a front-mounted motor, more full-scale-like steering and suspension systems, and a detailed engine bay and interior. Maybe even a 3D printed body to go along with it. I first showcased the scale shop build a few weeks ago. I haven't made much progress on it since the last video, but I have a lot of ideas for things I want to add to it. I do plan on building a few things for it and printing some more lifts, tools, and other odds and ends soon, so there will be more updates on this project in the coming weeks. Also, for those who've asked, I will be offering the 3D printed lifts for sale soon. One thing to keep in mind is that this lift isn't intended to hold much weight. A plastic model car is fine, but a heavier die-cast model is probably pushing it. And the final project I want to talk about is the 91 Firebird model car drift build. Part 1 of this series has received a lot of attention. Apparently the YouTube gods decided to place that video in a ton of people's recommended video feeds. Along with all the views, I've also received a huge amount of interest in the project and suggestions on how I should go about building the body. Thank you all for the suggestions and support. I've read so many great ideas on how I should customize the body, and I've also received some questions about the project, one of which I'd like to talk about now, and that being some of the questions regarding the axle I'm using. It is custom designed and built by me and cannot currently be purchased. Due to the amount of people who have messaged me asking if they can purchase an axle just like it, I do have plans to release the axle in one form or another, likely as a part of a kit. However, there are a few concerns I have which I want to address before offering them for sale. One of which being just how small and finicky the axle is. Honestly, this axle assembly is a bit of a pain to work on, especially some of the variations I've made with functioning limited slip differentials. Due to the small size and intricacy of some of the components, I'm not sure how long they will hold up under stress. If I'm going to offer this for sale, I want it to be something that's going to last and be of a certain quality, as well as be able to take at least a little bit of abuse without issue. I need to do a bit more testing with this design, see what its limits are, and see what improvements I can make, as well as experiment with different materials to make the axle assemblies as robust and reliable as possible. Of course, part of it is just the nature of it being this small, however, I'm going to do the best I can to make it as robust as possible. Once I'm at a point where I feel like the axles are ready to be sold, I'll probably do a short production run and collect some feedback. Also, I'm planning on offering a chassis kit to go along with the axle rather than just selling the axles by themselves. The chassis could be made adjustable or offered in different sizes, allowing for a model car body to be mounted right on top of it. Of course, you could also do it like I'm doing with the Firebird by taking the individual components and mounting them to the pre-existing model car chassis piece, but I'd imagine most people would prefer the method I previously mentioned. But those are my thoughts regarding that right now, and of course I'll be sure to keep you guys updated both here on YouTube and over on the other social media pages. Also, I have other chassis in this scale that I've designed for use with plastic model cars, some of which feature a more conventional RC car layout and four-wheel independent suspension. If there's sufficient interest, I can also offer those chassis for sale as well. Taking model cars and making them into functional RC vehicles is one of my favorite types of builds to do, so if you want to see more of them, I'd be happy to showcase more builds like this one. Whenever I do a build with this much custom work, it's always a challenge and even a bit of a gamble as to whether or not everything is going to work out and if the vehicle will perform as I want it to. But regardless of what happens, I'm confident the finished car is going to be pretty sick, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the outcome of this build. So that is where everything is as far as the builds on the channel go. Now I want to talk a little bit about the channel in general. Moving into 2018, I really want to take this channel to the next level. Mainly I want to improve the quality of my videos and get on a regular upload schedule. To achieve both of these goals, I'm considering making some changes to the format of future videos. Unlike my current format of each individual project having its own series of videos, where I make a certain amount of progress on a build and then upload it as a part of that series, I instead have been considering a once a week or perhaps twice a month show/vlog-ish where all the progress I've made on any projects in that past week or two is shown in a single video. For example, as of the time of recording this, I've made a fair amount of progress on the PreRunner and the Firebird, as well as some work on the Subashru, 180SX, and some other projects I've never showcased on this channel. I haven't really made enough progress on any one of these builds to justify a new video showing the progress I've made, since after editing the footage, the entire video would probably only be about 5 or 6 minutes at most, and I'd only be doing a few things in it. But if I made a single video showing the progress I've made on all the builds, the video would contain far more variety, making it more entertaining, and could have a more substantial length of 10 to 15 minutes or more. In addition to making regular uploads easier, this would also trim off some editing time and make that process a bit easier. Now, I understand that some of you might not prefer this format, since instead of having all the individual projects separated into their own separate video series, they now all be a part of the same video. So those of you who are only interested in 1 or 2 projects would probably not favor this format. The solution for this is, once a project is complete, I would take all the footage and make a separate full build video showing the entire project from start to finish, edit it down some to ensure the video isn't too long, something kind of similar to the RC Modify series on the Dark Dragon Wing channel. I feel like this would provide a good balance for those who want regular videos filled with detail, and those who are more casual viewers who would prefer to simply see an RC build from start to finish in one edited down video. Let me know what you think of this new format and any ideas you have or things you'd like to see. If I do choose to use this format moving forward, I will continue to edit and upload videos for series that I've already started, such as the Budget RC Drift build or the PreRunner project, until those series are finished, just to have some sort of conclusion to them so the series don't just end in the middle of the project. I will still continue the RC Talk series, maybe as a regular thing or just an every now and then upload. I've received a lot of really good suggestions for future topics, which I have been compiling on a list. If any of you have any suggestions for future topics, let me know below in the comments. I'd also like to do some shoutouts in future videos, showcasing some of your custom RC vehicles, projects, videos, and channels. Not exactly sure how I'll go about doing that, but it's something I'll think about. Maybe start a hashtag or a Facebook group or something like that. And that is all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a safe and happy holiday weekend. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in 2018.